been back for the past 2 weeks or whatnot, and I'm here to give you a presentation on my first year within Ethiopia. So there's a lot of ground to cover, and I'm hoping to run through it within this next 20, 30 minutes or whatnot. And so, yeah, so pre-departure. We'll start right there. So as you guys know, there was my going away birthday party, which a lot of people showed up to. So there's John, the group photo we took, my instructors, Miss Lukers is here right now, Asmaret, etc., etc. Geni, Gunny, my gunnery sergeant, my NJROTC instructor, Dee, Abigia, etc., etc. Then there's DC. So right after that happened, right? So then I took off. So then here's DC. And we went to DC first for Peace Corps. So it was a really surreal experience. And I'll be straight up, I have to say this, like for right now at least, that being there taught me, because again, you see a spot for like MLK, you see all these other things that are going on too, with like the JFK, Eternal Flame, the World War II. It's just, you're looking at the US at a time, at these different points in time where, yeah, we have a lot of contention, but I think for me personally, it, like, straight up, for me, it really put it in perspective that the country is going to be what we want to make it, you know? And I'm not going to try to get too political right now, but so I'll steer away from that. But it was very much an eye-opening experience for me because it seemed like anybody and everybody who really, really fought to make a place and to make change within the States, they were there. And again, it wasn't just MLK, there were other people that were there too, but you know, so it was a really eye-opening experience, taught me a lot, and it showed me kind of like we have to be the ones to change things next. Thanks. And then arrival in Ethiopia, so this one's gonna be pretty cool. That is the Ethiopian sun on the way in, man. Like, yeah, it was insane. Like the first time I showed up, I was like, what is this? Like you know? And so here's like, it just looked, it's beautiful, man. For me, it's beautiful. So it's like, yeah, next one, yeah, you're good. So training. So host family and culture fair. So here are the images from that. So the one where I'm in my cultural shirt was the culture fair, and I think they saw me. It was crazy. So I think some folks saw me on IG when I was doing the Tigrinya Kebero dance, and I think dude, he was on stage, and I don't think he expected me to be like, oh, you really know what you're doing? Like you've seen this before. And I was like, yeah, man. Like that went without saying. But yeah, this is Testify, and I know the instructors are gonna be watching and listening to this too. So it's like, but there's a Seinesh, there's some of our Oromia instructors from languages, my host family, Little Sara, my host sister, and Fatana right over here. So it was really good times. It was really great being with them. Next. Training garden and farmer field day, next. And so on this one, this was our initial garden, my apologies. This one was our initial garden that we had set up like maybe the first month in. With my training group, and then it eventually got extended by the host family that was there. We're in the Oromia region, you know, so mind you, so this is before I go to North Shoa. So they extended it, we got like this long garden that's going right here, the fence got extended, etc. And then we had a farmer field day right over here where you can see the images, like Nebiu, my main instructor is there, the program manager for AG is there, Wainu, my host mother, etc., and then all of us over here giving our farmer field day lesson plan for the evening. Next, thank you. And then I just thought this was kind of funny because I don't know. You saw the previous photos. There was like a bunch of people, and there's just this dog here, like you know, chilling, and I was like he's not bothered, like literally, and like, I don't know, Tekka is just like, he's smiling and laughing and stuff, but I was just like, man, this guy, dude, I couldn't help myself on that one. Next. Thank you. Swearing ceremony at the U.S. Embassy in Addis. So I gave a speech for my G, for the Amharic portion of it. Next. And then these are all the folks who I ended up taking photos with. Some people saw this on social media too. So, you know, there's the ambassador right here. Here's Tekka Reddit. Here's Malcolm and, you know, who else? Nebiu, Asnake, if you see this, I'm so sorry, man. I'm like, my bad, I just tuned out. But he's like, how'd you forget me? Like, and then there's all of us right over here, and then a Sainish over here. Like, these folks helped me make that event, like, so crazy. Because, again, they were asking me before I went up, they were like, oh, do you want to have the Longomark, the complex one, like the actual translation, or do you want it, like, kind of just fizzled down and, like, easy to read? And I was like, no, I want the real one. And so Yeah, I took it on and it went over really well, I'd like to think. Next. Thank you. First year highlights and findings. Next. Cabela FTC pre-rainy season. So this is what our Cabela looked like. So I got to North Shoa, and that's where I'm at. And so that's within the Amara region. So I'm up in the mountains. I'm in a place called Men's. So the Woredas that are there, you have like 5 of them. You got Men's Gama, Men's whatever, this, that, and the other. My Cabela specifically is called Kolo Margefia. Yes, it's called Kolo Margefia. So every time I say that, like the older folks and my instructors are like, Mina no, Kolo Margefia. I'm like, yeah, whatever, man, that's fine. He's probably gonna be laughing now, like, which roughly translates to like the colo stop or like the colo drop. So it's kind of like, you know. But yeah, here's what we were developing at first and whatnot. I had to do all the soil next, and then reconnect. So there's a phase. Yeah, here we go. So there's a phase. So we go to our sites for the first 3 months. Afterwards, we have an event called Reconnect. So we go. They pick a place for us to all congregate at. And we have Bishoftu, or Debrazate. Ba'amaranya, it's Debrazate is what it's called. And so this is us making twaf. So if you guys have seen the Orthodox beds and stuff like that, I think they use it for Protestant people too. I'm not too sure. I haven't seen it too much, but I know for a fact, like, if it's a big holiday, people got twaf. So like for Orthodox folks, they're usually carrying that around. And so we were making that, and then I ran into Geni and Tuti, Nani, everybody else, Gabriela, like just bunch of people, so it was really cool to catch up with everybody. Next over, and this is us. That was us at Denver's 8 too, by the way. So setting demonstration gardens next. Okay, so this was the FTC's demonstration garden over here. There's my counterpart Zodi, and then him and I are just pointing to to draw attention to the dinich, to the potatoes that are over here. And then I'm sorry, but I'm like talking and I'm just thinking in Amharic at the same time, and I'm like, dude. And then here's here's my first garden space. So this is my demo garden right here that I had to set up. And so this is like right at the onset of the rainy season, about like 2 weeks in. So 2-3 weeks in. Next, thank you. Cabela FTC post renovations. And so some people have also seen this on social media. We got a new Adis Baralen, so we have like a new door. We got a fence over here. Again, I'm telling you, the mark's coming to me, and I'm just like, I feel like I'm getting pulled between both regions right now, both countries. And so there's a new fence in the back. Here's my model garden, my demonstration garden. What is it? Like a month in about? Yeah, a month in, 6 weeks in. So a month and a half. And then here's the dinich. Here's the potatoes as it's growing more. Next. Demara, Meskel, and Mescaram, and Nkutatash. Next. So, yeah. It was intense, man. Mescaram, like, they don't play around out there. Especially in the Amara region, like, everybody's turning up. So it's like, you have, no, I kid you not. Like, I was coming down, like, to Darmaber. And so it's on the way, it's in between Debre Bedham and Molade, so my Wareda. And like you can go to like any of the bus stops and like they'll have like the mezcals going, like it does not matter, people don't stop. I'm like, whoa. And then I went over to we were at Ostu's place, and so here's some of the kids during Mescaran. They were giving a song or what have you. There's Ostu over here, Balai, Tuti, David, etc. Koki, like I'm telling you, man, it's crazy to be over there.
That's my brother right there, David.
Oh, right here? Oh, bro, dude, he's cool, man. I'm like, I'm sorry. He's cool. Like, him and I are really, like, he's super cool, bro. Like, David's really cool. I don't know if he said anything, but it's just like, how's he doing over there? Like, I see him also, like, he's cool. He's really cool. Next, please. Thank you. Demonstration garden pics. And then, okay, so we have here, so people saw this too. But again, going sequentially, this happened right after, either in between or right after Mescaram and Demara, etc. Manamen. So you have the kaisera that's right here, you got the beets, you got lettuce, you got all this stuff that's over here. I was showcasing it next. Distributing the lettuce next. Thank you. And so this becomes really important because basically I'm like, it's crazy because I'm like, I never thought I'd be doing promo in Ethiopia, but I'm like, I'm like the marketing guy in me, the guy who's putting on events and showing up to him earlier. I was like, I guess I got a promo. So I'm really essentially right now, like I have three key smallholder farmers that I'm using right now. So you got Einshet, Tigist, and Giju. Two of them, Einshet and Tigist. Einshet is, let's just say he sells drinks. He sells drinks for any of the kids watching or something like that. But yeah, so he sells drinks and stuff, but he's really well known. Yeah, so I really wanted to make sure that I reached out to him. Good person though, really good person. And then Tigist, so she's over here. I have photos with her. It's just for the sake of, for the case of this one, we're showcasing the food, and I'm telling you, like, Tigist makes the best food. Like, Tuti, Astu, everybody knows. They're just like, oh, yeah, Tigist bet listening, the nigga, oh, no, Arif. Yeah, and so Tigist knows about them, so her and I keep a really, really big correspondence. We're really cool. So this is where the lettuce went to, so I distributed it. Next. G20 Owasa PDM. And then we have, so there's the photo with my G over here. We're having Owasa PDM. We see Owasa okay. There's a Hailu over here. Like I said in the caption, he's holding me back from bad decisions. I don't know, I just like this photo, man. It's really cool. So, but no, like, yeah, you've seen Hailu smile and everything. He's dope, man. He's really cool. But I just thought, so next up. And then we have transplanted tomatoes and onions, next up. So this was, so the water situation where I'm at is really intense. So we have, if it's not the rainy season, if it's not cramped, you have parts of the Amara region that are very green. So you have like Mahalameda, you have like Wasa, etc., etc. So on the way out there, or Deborah Bedham, so it'll have like, you'll have greenery there, you'll have like, you'll have rain maybe or water that's available. But for the most part, it's kind of just like being up in Oromia, just with mountains and being up even higher. So I'm just kind of like, so like, yeah, if it's not the on season, then it's kind of yellow throughout the second half of the year. So it became really difficult for my shinkocht and stuff to grow, my onions. And so we had to transplant it, and this is what it looks like right now. So that was before, this is right now. Like literally I took this like 4 weeks ago. So this is what it looks like right now. Next up. Thank you, demonstration garden harvesting. Okay, so and then this one's really interesting because, so I did do my harvesting, but it's also, I was really fortunate to harvest the lettuce when I did, because at least in my region, the rainy season, again, it kind of cuts short a little bit where I'm at. So I was like, we're up in the mountains, so I'm like, if my lettuce gets sunburned, I'm not going to be able to distribute it, or it's going to dry out really quick. And in this situation, I have, and then there were other factors that I had to take into account too. So like this one, with these two photos in particular, I got the carrots and I was doing the cabbage. Unfortunately, you have situations where some people, they just take stuff, man. And sometimes I'm learning, like, you can't always prevent people from wanting to take things, like, for good or bad. Even whether it's conversation or whether somebody being like, dang, man, just working really hard. And I'm sorry, Asaka, but I gotta say, he's gonna be like, why are you so petty, man? No, because I was out there with my jerry can. I feel like I'm defending myself. I'm like, I was out there with my jerry can doing trips in the morning and stuff, and it's hard labor. Like, it's really hard to keep it on my shoulder and everything. And I'm like, people see me, bro. Like, I'm like, how are you gonna show up? Okay, so I'll keep it chill. But yeah, and so like I noticed this first with my carrots, and I was just like, okay. So then I was kind of like, okay, I don't want folks coming in again. I was like, oh, I'm gonna harvest this right now. So I wish I had more time with it, but I didn't. And then literally within like 2-3 days, like this happened too when I came back. I was like, maybe they're not gonna come back, but just in case. And somebody came back and pulled out this much of the cabbage. So still, we still ended up making food out of it. The carrots were harvested just fine. Again, this was like, and the carrots was a petty thing, but that one was kind of like a little bit more serious, on the serious end. Next up. And then demonstration garden results, yields. This is more so for work. So this is a diagram, actually this isn't too bad on the projector. So this is a diagram of all that was harvested. The only ones that got mixed up a little bit were the cabbage and carrots as I was making it. So I lost, what I'm pretty sure of was like a kilo. Like cabbage is really heavy. Like cabbage, like me personally, they took the good stuff, so I was like, So I lost about a kilo of it to like thieves or animals, but being honest, like I talked to Zode and he was like, Jeff, it was people, man. I was like, okay. I was like, yeah, those cuts, yeah. So I'm like, you're looking at the photos, I'm like, it looked like somebody stepped in it and everything was just. And then the carrots, I only lost like 500 grams. That one was just, again, it was just kind of like, it wasn't anything too bad. But so that's all the yields. Like cabbage, we got like 2 kilograms, tomatoes, transplanted, carrots, 2.75 kilograms, onions, transplanted, lettuce, 5 kilograms, and then, which is like 5,000 grams, and then beets, or kaisar, we have like 600 grams. lost a kilo of it to petty stuff, and lost 500 grams of carrots to petty stuff. And then distribution, that one can be seen on for the instructors when they're going through it. So, but just know that it got distributed to Einstedt, Tigist, and who else? And Giju. So next one up, please. And then that's a close-up of those images. Next one up. Okay, so for next time, what could be done to be improved? Use using a compost pile for soil nutrition throughout the rainy season. That one was really important. I mean, I just figured again, I don't know. I figured that they were gonna grow fine, but it's just you really have to have composting, something available to supplement their growth. And I kind of noticed the farmers were just, tossing what's it called? NPS or something. It's nitrophosphorus sulfate. And so, dang, I remember that. Nitrous phosphorus sulfate, and they use that as an artificial fertilizer, and they'll toss that onto the stuff during the rainy season. And I was like, that's really cool. So I have plenty to learn. And then keeping fences around garden spaces up to keep out goats, dogs, and people from stepping in or eating the garden produce. Hexagonal and distance spacing. That way they're not so cramped up. Planting before the rainy season starts. The time frame is known. Now that I know the time frame. And then self-reliance and improvisation on finding fertilizer. This becomes a thing, but that's a conversation for another time. And then if garden spaces can't be put near sources of water, then jerry can or water trips have to be promoted and carried out. We've got to use locks, fences, and monitor garden spaces as best as possible for thieves, because, at least in my Cabela, we know who we are. So I'm like, But yeah, so next one up. Oh, and so this is just an image to say I'm still learning. So some folks saw me on IG, Facebook, whatever, and I mentioned it because I know people it's going to be important, trying to get funding for later. So I'm like, I know, again, going back to promo, I gotta talk about it. But Mulugeta, he showed me this, a man named by the name of Mulugeta Halemesca. He was showing me his garden space, and it was really well structured. You have a stream running through here. Not everybody can do this though. So again, when it comes to strategic placement of where you're putting your garden spaces to make things easier for folks, you got to really think about it. But he placed his right at the end of a stream that comes down from where we're at for the rainy season, and it was great because you have water coming through here, and you have the irrigation that's all set over here. It's just it was mass produce at a really great level, and I was like, whoa. So he's going to show me some ropes here. So that's why I'm kind of not all is lost, Next up. Okay, second year goals, and now it's going to get really quick from here on out. So plans between now and next April. So agriculture. Oh, and for a heads up, I'm also on the Gender Awareness Development Committee. So I'll get to that here really quick. So agriculture. So first up, I got to make a chicken coop. I got to make my model chicken coop after Fosca. So for the farmer training, I want to do it for the farmer training center. So we want to continue to build that up because again, as we saw in the photos, even doing the demonstration gardens, that was new for them. They hadn't done anything like that before. So it's I want to keep that going. So it seems like they're really focused on renovating where they're at. So, and that would be really important for keeping people in tune with what we're doing over there and keeping everything legit, legitimate, official, etc. So they'll see that and they'll be like, okay, cool. So, 10 garden spaces for Cabela smallholder farming families, soils and seeds set between Foxica and last week of June. So you got about 4/19, that's what, April 19th to, June 27th. That's my window of work time right there. So it's gonna be a lot of ground to cover by that, around then. Then we have 10 chicken coos for Cabela smallholder farming families. Coos and chickens developed between Achede and the close of service. So Achede is basically the harvesting, at least where I'm at, it's the harvesting of Sinde. So it's the harvesting of wheat. And so if I showed you images of all of my Cabela, it's just a bunch of wheat fields that are out there. And ergo, Amarans are really heavy on their rocket. So it's again, they're really, so there's that. But again, if I can do that between wheat harvesting and the close of service, I'm good. That gives me a 6 month window to do that right after doing gardening spaces. So I'm really starting to know my area through trial and error. It's helping a lot. And then 5 out of 10 of each of those developments will be specifically for female-led households. So and then going into gender awareness development, which ties into this. So now that I'm on the committee, I've only been in there for about a month or two. Now we're going into my 3rd month on the committee, and I only have a year and 4 months left. So essentially, I want to create plans for trainings, PCV, staff. This is me personally. I really feel like I know I can do it. like I have one entitled like public perceptions on male aggression, like trying to reduce that. Like why is it that people will go to like Koki, Dimbo's sister was saying like a lot of people won't go to when they go to Hope for the Fatherless, they won't want to adopt boys because they see them as more aggressive than girls. So it's like it's harder for them to want to adopt like little boys. And then she was like, I wish people could do like blind adoption, but you know we like there's preferences. And then there's addressing toxic masculinity, reducing objectification, which goes into a whole nother topic as to why you have to address certain issues with boys, or not with boys, but you have to address certain issues in parts. If you can address certain issues in parts, then you can reduce the main problem that's happening there with harassment. So, and then masculinity and femininity discussions, male vulnerability, power dynamics, allyship, and how to go about it. So again, I think for sure we had a discussion for a GAD, and with me being the only male on the committee, it's really important to have like men have that have open dialogue and discourses to really address some of the problems. Because again, if boys, men, etc., if they're not willing to talk about their issues, then they're going to continue to have pent-up anger, aggression, that's going to manifest itself in ways that are extremely unhealthy. And we're hoping that, you know, the work that we're doing, these discussions and dialogues are going to reduce that, you know, or at least make people more aware of what they're doing, and then in turn help empower women, help disperse the gender inequalities that are there in the country. So, because they're there, believe me. Since first committee meeting last November, I made monitoring and evaluation phone calls and submitted a staff-oriented lesson plan entitled Gender Disparities in the Workplace for the staff. So, yeah, we'll see how all that goes. Next up. And then what service means to me. Okay, so this was the last one. I know Dimbo wanted me to talk about this. So, at the end of the day, it's about the people positively impacting the community and improving their lives, not yours. And that's something really, really important, and it's hard to grasp sometimes while we're out there. At least for people who are Ferenjoch, people who are just anybody who could be involved going out, like even if you were going out to Spain or Cuba or something else, and you're noticing disparities that are happening, whether it's got anything to do with racial inequality, anything to do with socioeconomic, etc., etc. Because some people, you'll be out there and it's like, some people, they really got the money, and it's just kind of like, you're still having to deal with some of the things that you see here in the States, but you're dealing with it in developed countries. Again, gender inequalities, those are very visible, etc. I can go on about that. But while you're viewing these things, while you're viewing these issues and you're seeing them take place right in front of you, you have to keep in mind that whether it's because somebody doesn't know you, they have a certain sentiment about you, stigmas or something, you're trying to help them out. Like I'm being so serious about it. Like you're trying to help them out as best as you possibly can, and for me, I have to keep that in mind too. Like even as I was writing this down, I was just kind of like, man, you know, because I've been thinking about that while I've been here for the past 2 weeks, really thinking about it, and I'm just like, huh. And I'm glad Dimbo asked me the question. And then the second one is it raises your awareness in the realities of living here in the States and overseas. So and I say this because while you're here, of course that would be a given. But while you're in the States, people have been to Addis, right? People have been to go visit their families, etc., etc. But it's wild when you go out and you're meeting people who aren't related to you at all, who aren't your blood, who are looking out for you, who are helping you out, or sometimes vice versa, you know? But again, which leads into the third one. It's about giving much of yourself to those, maybe all of yourself sometimes, to those who don't have the same as you. And for me, that's a really serious, like a really high note. It's a really serious note because I'm there and I'm seeing kids play with like, I was telling my mom, I was like, I saw kids play with like toys thinking that they're cars, and it's just a crushed up plastic bottle with wheels on it, right? And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, that's not a car. And the kid is like, boom, 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 boom. But to him, that's a car. And I'm just like, yeah, and I'm like, dude, what? And then I'm seeing people who really need serious medical attention. You can tell that they need it. Like, you can see it in their eyes. Like, whether it's because they're redder than usual, whether it's because they're more frail than usual, etc. And they're not seeking medical attention, or they cannot get that access. So again, here, if something does happen to you, you can easily go to the ambulance, etc. There, they'll try to do what they can, but not everybody's opening, like doing stuff 24/7. There is no payment plan to handle some of the stuff that happens afterwards or what have you. So they will abstain from going to seek medical services, etc. And so while I'm looking at these conditions, again, the thing that keeps me going, the thing that really, really makes me feel is the folks who are looking out for me, the folks who do remind me that, you know what, we're all one people, you know? Like at the end of the day, we all got blood going through us. We all got 5 fingers, we all got eyes, we're all one people. And so, yeah, for me, service, I think moving forward is definitely about me, like, keeping it in mind, and for all other volunteers too, you know, that we have a job to do. And man, I'm talking to the camera, but we have a job to do. We have, and it's not easy. It isn't easy for us. Because we have to face the realities of what other people are going through, what we're experiencing, the political turmoil that may happen, and quite frankly, our friends and family are supporting us as well. And so while these communities are helping us, our friends and family are helping us, etc., it's important to take all of that into account, because as we're serving and trying to help improve the lives of other people, we have a job to do at the end of the day. And even if you take that out, essentially, really, that's what Peace Corps should be about, is helping others. For real. So, and then, I don't know, like, next slide, please. And then questions. So, does anybody have anything for Q&A? Because I know that was a serious note, but again, it's been a lot for me to think about. Because Dee asked that question, and I was just like, it was really important. It was something for me to really reflect on, and it helped out a lot. But anybody on the Q&A side, like anything culturally, or being there, I don't know. Yeah, what's up?
Or I mean, so like for somebody like at home, and because like I guess there's different ways to like, I guess, like show support and do things, but like what do you think is like the best effective method for people who like are like unable to go out or but like have that ambition?
Yeah, I think, and this was really important for me being in the States. So like sometimes people. So the ones who can't go out there in the field, be actively there and participating or be actively involved, you can still be actively involved through, and this is gonna sound crazy because I know there's some skepticism regarding it, but you can still be involved through monetary donation. You can still be, like Lemsale, for example, you can still give to your friends and family while they're overseas. You can still, you know, you have to know the people who you're around, you have to know their character, et cetera, et cetera. But again, you have to know where your dollar is going, you have to know what you're donating to, you have to know what you're buying, etc. And this is kind of this has a lot to say behind it too, which of course everybody can probably guess what I'm saying, but you have to know where your dollars are going. Like you have to know where your money is going, and you have to know who you're supporting and helping out, and what those people's characters are. So yeah, if you can't be actively involved in the process while you're going out overseas, doing all the stuff in the Kabbalah, etc., then you can definitely help out with, you know, giving to organizations or family members or to people who you are really cool with, who you know are going to use it for the right reasons. So again, if they have a horrible track record of the behavior that they do, or if you're just like, nah, like I know what you're like, etc., then avoid them, you know. But the folks who really do need the help, the folks who really are going through it, and this is a reason why I went to Ethiopia, is I've noticed, like, the community really cares about each other. Like, it doesn't matter whether they're overseas. I've said this in Amharic, and I said this in English, and I say it again, like, right now. Like, they've always cared about each other. Like, it doesn't matter that they're continents away. It doesn't matter that they're, like, oceans away or whatever. Like, they'll use Viber, WhatsApp, whatever, you know? Like, they'll call your family in Addis to know how you're doing in a Kabbalah or whatever, wherever that they're at. So in that regard, yeah, just stay well connected. Make sure that you know what you're investing in, because again, you may not think about it right now, especially as kids, or especially as teenagers rather, but what you're buying says a lot. What you're buying helps either support or detract from certain companies, organizations, or interest groups who are trying to do otherwise with your dollar, or otherwise with your materials, if that makes sense. So, and I know that conversation has gone around several times, but I'm definitely gonna put it out there like that too. So, yeah, just stay supportive, man. Yeah.
How
How do you go about choosing where you want to go for the Peace Corps?
So for me personally, so I had asked around that everybody's different. So if somebody wants to like you could go there and you could be like, oh, I want to learn Otomenya, or oh, I want to learn Tigrinya, or oh, my parents are from here, this, that, and the other. At least like determining where you want to go. I played mine by ear. I kind of knew that I wanted to pick up a mark because everybody outside of the country speaks it. When you're there though, and not to get too much into it, but when you're there though, you notice that just because everybody picks up a mark doesn't mean that everybody's going to consistently speak that, where they might feel a certain type of way about the fact that they all speak a mark, and they're like, you should be speaking this, that, and the other. So it can come down to language. It could come down to the climate. What suits you? Do you want to be in mountains? Do you want a temperate climate? Do you want to be in a hot place? Like, do you want to be around diversity? Like Debub, like the South, it has it just has a lot of different religions that are there. You got Protestant, Orthodox, you got Muslims who are there. You have the other folks who are in the Southern Cabela's who are practicing other religions as well. So it's a very different place. Than say Yamada. So it depends on your vibe. So I would strongly recommend doing research if you're ever interested in doing it. And so again, just know where you want to be at. Like Mekelle, Aksum, Tigray, like for some people that might be their vibe. Like they might be more about like the staunchness, how do I say this? The traditionalism that they have there in terms of their culture. Because again, like that's just how some regions are going to be. So yeah, it just depends.
Well, thank you so much, Jeff.
I got like the last one, yeah. And then for me, to you guys too, if you could hit that one more time, Saro. Thanks. Thank you.